Hi, this is Unique. Thank you for turning in. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share the video. So, today I would love to talk about a dream that I have that I feel led to share it with you guys. So, I had this dream actually October 19 last week Tuesday. So I had this dream that I went to my son's school because I have three sons, but I'm talking about the two younger son. And they're one is in kindergarten, one is like 5, and one is 3 years old. He's in pre-K. So when I went to the school to go pick them up from school, I see that they was in a room with like 50 kids, and they were sitting on the ground. And I see a lady with a needle in her hand. And then, so I was looking for my two sons, because it was 50 kids and they were sitting on the ground. They was all sitting together. So it was hard for me to find it. But when I find my two sons, Judah and Josiah, I noticed they had like a sticker on their body. And I said, "What?" So I said to the lady, "Did you give them the I don't even want to say the word, the V, the big V?" And they said, and the lady said, "Yes." I was like, "Oh, could you do that? That is against my will." And so, how could you do that? I didn't even worry to argue with the lady and stuff. I just grabbed the two boys. I lift them up because my two sons, they're skinny, they're little, so I could lift both of them up together. I grabbed both of them and lift them up, and I went off somewhere and I start praying and crying out to God, like, "God, have mercy, please, I'm begging you. Look what they did to my son. They went against my will. It's not my fault. It's not my fault, God. It's not my fault. I bring them to school, and look what they did. They gave them the big V and went against my will. They give them the killer, and they went against my will and give them that. I didn't consent to it. I was just crying out to God. But before that, I noticed one of the child, before I even go get my kid, I could find my kid. I noticed there was a dead child among the 49 children. One of the child, when they had give them the killer, the child passed away right away. I don't remember if it's a male child or a female, because it was both gender together, just sitting down. Because sometimes they do that in school. They sit down on the ground and do activity or whatever. All the kids were just sitting down on the ground, and the lady was there just giving them the thing, the killer. So I noticed that one of the child was dead among the kid. So that child died right away. And the next thing I noticed that some of the kid, when they got that killer, some of the other kids, like, they had seizure. So I know this is a dream that the Lord is trying to reveal what is to come. This is the what is to come. Because I remember when I was in the hospital, when I gave birth to my son Judah, I know before I give birth, I had tell them, "I do not want you to give him that killer," because they do give them one as soon as they born. When I weren't paying attention, I noticed that he already got one. I said, "Why would you do that?" They said, "Oh, this one they have to get and whatever." And I was very pissed off that they did that, because, I do not like my kids getting that. I learned from my first kid. He got all of his, and he had some bad reaction to it. He always had ear infection. He always had cold. He had a seizure once. He got a high fever when he was 1 years old, and we was living in Jamaica, Queens at the time. I had to run and take him to Jamaica Hospital. While we at the hospital in the waiting room in the nighttime waiting for him, because his fever was like over 105 at the time. Not supposed to be that high at that age. He was just only one. The fever not supposed to be so high. He had a seizures, and that's when they take him in, because in New York City, the hospital is always full. New York City is very congested. It's full of a lot of people. And that's when they take him, and that was his reaction from it. And you think I would learn from it? I still keep on giving it. It's when he was 2 years old now and they get diagnosed with autism. That's when I start giving him, say, y'all gotta tell me, oh, my kid ended up with autism. Because this kid was normal when I give birth to him, and he did everything fast. This boy start rolling over at 3 months. He start walking at 10 months. He did everything fast. Not like, some of the people that tell me that their kid have autism, they did everything slow, like they take 2 years before they walk and stuff. This kid, when he born, you could see the crown of his head, because they born with a star. His thing was shining. I didn't even know nothing about that then. But when I look at him, I say, this kid gonna be great. So when I look at him, I say, for sure, I know this kid gonna be great, because this kid that just come into the world, he's shining like a star. He was just shining like a star. And I don't see that as much with my other two kids, but I see that with my first kid and stuff. Like my first son, Prince, I was like, this boy, he's different. He's going to be great and stuff. And, so I had stopped giving my children that. I learned from my first kid. They couldn't tell me. So after two, I never give him no more. Never. They couldn't get me to give him. I said, no way. I'm going to put nothing in my kid's body. So when I had this dream, it was so shocking to me that I bring my kid to school and left them there. And when I come to pick up my kid, I noticed they give them that killer that they're passing now, and they pass it for the kids to have it. So I don't know if what God is trying to say, because I don't really translate dream like that, but I really think they could pass a law to mandate the kids to get it, because I hear them saying it on the news. And if your kid are in school, it's possible they could give it to your kid without even consent to you. They don't need your consent, because these government, they act like they own our kid. I remember my same son Judah there, when he was 3 years old. That's during the pandemic, 2020, I think, or 2019, when the pandemic just started, that March, not last year, March, I think it was. And I was having problem back and forth with his teacher, and I said, I'm going to take him out of school and teach him myself. She's trying to find all type of problem with him. Said, oh, he need to go in special need. I said, my son that's so smart, that could read, you are a liar, Satan. You're not going to put no diagnosis on it. I would not accept that over my kid life. And I was just standing up and I was going back and forth at her and stuff like that. And I said, I'm going to take him out. I think you have a problem against my kid. Your racism against my kid, because I live in a white neighborhood. So some of the teacher is racism. And when they see that your kid is very smart, they trying to, put curse on it and want me to come in agreement with it. And I was not coming to agreement with it. And my son, very smart. The boy could read the Bible. He memorized Bible verse. At 3 years old, he could read books. And very, very smart. Very, very smart and stuff. And they trying to tell me, oh, I think something is wrong with his brain, just because they think his speech delay. I said, he talk. And not because he don't talk the way you want him to do, that don't mean he's delayed at 3 years old. He do stuff according to when God want him to do it, not when you want him to do it. So, yes. So, it's cool. I think God is saying that, because he had told me that one time that I have to take my kids out of school. It's going to be a time when the kids can't go to school. If they can't catch your parents, they will certainly catch your kid. Who to tell if they don't kidnap your kid, when you send them to school. A lot of people send their kid to school and they kidnap their kid, So a lot of people send their kids to school and they kidnap their kid and they never see their kid again. When I was living in New York, an autism kid, you run out of the school, nobody see him, and he run into the water and die. So we have to be careful with the school system. We as Christian, I'm talking to Christian people here. We as Christian, we have to look at the option, because God was telling me that from early in the year that I need to look at the option. I need to homeschool my kids, because what they're teaching the kids in school about sex and homosexuality, I do not stand for that as a woman of God. I do not stand for that, because we are people of God and we don't condone those stuff. So we don't want our kids to be a part of it. Like even now during the Halloween stuff, I don't even send my son to school today because they have Halloween parade. I didn't send. I'm not partaking of no demonic paganism. I would never do that, because that's against the rule of my God, and the God that I serve say I should not do it. I should not do that. So I'm not going to do it. So we have to look at an option. And today also I see that they have kids, high school kids, guys that dress like women, and they was given staff members, other guys, lap dance and stuff like that. So I don't want my kids to be around stuff like that. I do not want my children to be around stuff. I, I do not want my kids to be around stuff like that at all. I don't want them to be around the gay, the homosexuality and all that. And if they're going to mandate and start giving people kids stuff because they feel like because you come to their school they could do whatever they want with your kid, and they're going to mandate the nurse to give them the big killer job, I am against that. I'm going to take my kid out of school. I am not going to allow this, because God is warning me ahead of time that this is going to happen. This is going to, after a while, you send your kid to school, you're just going to come and see that they insert stuff inside your kid body. And if that happen, it's going to be my fault, because God warned me ahead of time. So I don't know if God is going to help me when I ball out then. So I am looking for other option, because you're telling me that I need to homeschool my kids. So I'm telling other Christian people, we have to look at the option. It's getting wicked in the school system. They're teaching about sex. They want to molest our kids. They want to steal their destiny and things like that. We have to look other way out. We have to teach our kids, and what we need to teach them is the Bible, not what they teaching them about Pride Day. And we have to look into homeschool our children, teach them about the Bible, teach them that anybody touch them, they should let us know, because these demonic creatures inside of the school, they are doing all type of evil to the children of God, the people children, our children, and we have to protect them. Be blessed, everybody. Have a good day.